It's Judgment Night on Channel 5. Troy Williamson defends his British Super Welterweight Championship against the pretty boy Josh Kelly. Who wins? Find out Friday, December the 2nd, 9pm, live and free on Channel 5.
Matt Lenihan, Boxing Social. Delighted to be joined by Ben Davison. Ben, we're here. Fury Chisora 3. But you've got a very talented young man going on this card, Royston Barney-Smith. I first spoke to him at I think it was Fury Whyte, and he was telling me about how he works with you, and he put on a great performance that night. How's your transition from then until now in terms of improvements and things like that?
Yeah, brilliant. I think that showed from the Fury Whyte card. He then boxed again on the Denzel Bentley Marcus Morrison card. Had a spectacular knockout. But the thing is with that is you often see these young prospects coming through blowing people away, but it's in the fashion in which they do so. He's very composed. He clipped him early, got a little bit excited, settled himself back down, then set it up in the way that we wanted him to set it up again, and found the finishing shot. So I was over the moon with that, and it was a fantastic performance. And rounds, I always go on about this, and I know everybody wants to see people blowing people away and all the rest of it, but rounds are so valuable on stages like this. It just does so much for their progression. Yeah. And I think that's more important than that, because we see these lads blow people away all the time. Then they get to a certain level and certain boxes haven't been ticked off along the way, and they come unstuck at a certain level. I don't want that for Royston. I want rounds under his belt, certain scenarios, certain boxes ticked along the way, so that when he comes across certain scenarios at a higher level, he knows how to deal with them.
Is it almost a double-edged sword though? Because we saw someone like Adam Azim, he's a young lad getting stepped up. Ryland Charlton seemed a reasonable opponent for this stage, because you don't want to chuck him too far up because it can be a big fall down. But if they don't get him out of there and something goes wrong, then they're almost like, it's quite a hard balancing job, because if Royston feels like he can get someone out of there, if he lets it go on a bit, and you never know, one shot from the gods and he gets caught, it's like, why did I do that? It's difficult, isn't it?
Yeah, there's a fine balance, and that's something that Adam Azim's done as well. Is there was probably a certain point early on, he's only had 7 fights, but there was a couple of times that he would have got a little bit excited. That performance against Ryland Charlton, he was composed, but he was very composed in doing so. Didn't rush his work, and there's nothing wrong with that. If Roy, like I said about Royston's first round knockout the other week, if he goes about it in that manner, I do not mind. It's when they're a little bit erratic, a little bit excited, trying to force it, looking for it, then that's a problem for me. But if you go about it in the way that Royston went about it last time and the way that Adam went about the Ryland Charlton performance, there's nothing wrong with that, and that is brilliant boxing, and that's what you want to see in a perfect world.
From a trainer's perspective, how good is it to see the right temperament in a fighter? When you talk about Royston there, he looks like he doesn't get too excited. It looks like he doesn't smother his work a lot. Is that quite good in it for someone so young to be doing that? Because like you mentioned there about they want to get him out, they want to look good, but it's more important for you that they pick the right shots and they don't start windmilling trying to get rid of him, isn't it?
For sure, and that is that's a huge part of it, and that shows composure, maturity, and that's when when they consistently show that, that's a big part of them being ready, moving on to the next level.
Now, you were there the other night for Fabio Wardley, you're part of that camp to help him. What do you make of Fabio's performance against Nathan Gorman, who is an excellent fighter? But Fabio was on it that night, and he got caught a little bit on the bridge of the nose, and he showed what he was worth, came back, got the stoppage victory. How impressed were you with him, his trainer, and how they went about the business?
Yeah, Rob's a great guy, Fab's a great guy, fantastic performance. I help Fab out. Rob's his coach. I help Fab out because
friends with Rob, though, aren't you?
Yeah, and I help him out because he's got the right mindset. He's keen to learn, wants to improve, and I think that shows in the fact that he had 3 white collar fights. He's now become British champion. So that white collar thing needs to leave him now. He's British champion, beating a top quality fighter in Nathan Gorman. It was a great performance. Scenarios that he drilled over and over and over played out in the fight, and I'm over the moon for him and Rob for getting that performance and that victory.
The next step for Fabio, it's quite important now, because you don't go back a level. He's had the Eric Molinas, who obviously had fought at world level before, but he's now just beaten a very good British heavyweight in Nathan Gorman, who fingers crossed comes back and rebuilds. But where does he go from here? What's the level of opponent we see him in with next? What do you think? What are the names we look at?
I don't really know. I suppose that's down to his management team and his promoters. I think that like an international opponent, someone like a Bogdan Dino, someone like that. someone around that level, and see how he gets on there. And I know that he got Molina out of there, but it just brings a different look and some different questions and experience, which is what he needs, of course.
Absolutely. I don't know how much you saw of the Dillon White fight against Franklin. Did you manage to see it all?
Yeah, I saw some bits of it. I didn't see every round, but I saw some bits of it.
All right. So did you not score it or anything then?
Nah, I didn't score it. A lot of people will watch the fight. They've not scored it. They'll go, I thought I scored it so and so. Well, get your scorecard out then, because they didn't actually score it. What I will say is that 5 rounds. I think sat there and watched 5 rounds ringside. I wasn't overly keen. I wasn't overly clear on any single round that you could clearly give to Whyte from what I was looking at.
Yeah, that's a fair assessment. I think a lot of people were saying the same.
I don't know if he come on strong in the second half. I didn't watch much.
He looks like he was almost stuck between styles. Like Buddy McGett was giving him instructions. He was implementing a new defence technique. You saw when they were going for the uppercut, his cross guard instead of like a shell or a shoulder.
A bit of that, but I don't think to that extent.
Yeah.
He looked lethargic to me. I don't know how long in advance he come back over from America, certain things like that. I'm not making excuses for him, but listen, the main thing is he got the W.
100%. Right, coming on to the main event here, we've got to talk about it. You know, your old fighter and friend, more to the point, Tyson Fury against Derek Chisora. What do you make of this matchup? We all talked about maybe Joshua. It's not Joshua, but we've got Derek Chisora. Is there a difference between the Derek Chisora who fought Tyson all them years ago? I think there's definitely a difference from the first performance, but are we going to see something completely different from him? Not completely, but a better version of him.
I couldn't tell you how he's going to approach the fight, to be honest with you. I don't really know. I think that, you know, what he done in the second fight, consistently maintained the distance with small steps and, you know, made it hard for Chisora to close the gap. And any time he did close the gap, he wrapped him up. I don't know if Tyson's going to take more of an aggressive approach, which, if he's going to do so, I think that he may blow Chisora out of there. There's a chance of that. But obviously, there's a chance that Chisora bowls one over the top as well. So, you know, obviously, I believe Tyson's going to win under any circumstances, any style. But I think the competitive nature of the fight and how entertaining it is will depend on how Tyson approaches the fight.
Another question, not from a sporting point, but from a friend's point of view. I watched a recent the documentary they did with BT and Tyson in his camp, and he said he was adamant he was retired. And I actually half believed him the first time, and I think he believed it. But he said got back to normal life, and he realises now this is going to be very difficult. Do you, when you hear him say things like that sort of thing, do you worry for him a little bit and think, how does he go about this? Because at some point in every fighter's life, whether it be through old age or they haven't got it anymore, or too much punishment, they have to call it a day. But do you worry thinking, how is he going to maybe cope after boxing a little bit?
I think the key thing is routine and structure, and I said this at the time when he was making the comeback. I think that's key for anybody. Yeah, anybody in any life, that in whatever you do in life, that routine and structure is key for anybody to live a happy life.
Yeah.
One of the best pieces of advice I ever received was to wake up at the same time every single day. How you feel doing that, your body, you know, one day I get up at 6, one day I get up at 5, one day I get up at 10.
Every day.
Yeah, I just feel like in myself, if I wake up the same time every single day, I feel 10 times better every single day, more consistently. So, you know, routine, I bang on about it all the time, but I think routine, consistency and some structure within your day is vital.
What time do you get up on a morning? Do you get up on the same time then?
I set my alarm 6 o'clock, usually up at about 5:45.
That's a toughie, that. I like a bit of a lie-in when I'm not working, but yeah.
But it's not important
for everyone,
what time. Yeah, it's not important what time you get up. I think it's important if you get up at the same time, your body knows now's the time to wake up. Sometimes you wake up and you feel rough and you think, oh. Yeah. I feel like that comes from your body not knowing when it's supposed to be awake.
Yeah, body clock.
Exactly.
Let's talk about Leigh Wood. Come out about Leo Santa Cruz. Have they called purse bids now? Where are we at with this? Because I feel like since this injury and stuff like that, it's all a bit up in the air. What are we going to see? Leigh was supposed to fight Lara, now he's not. Now he's going to fight Santa Cruz, which really, if we're all being honest, he should have been elevated to super champion anyway.
Sure, yeah.
So, where are we at? What's happening with Leigh Wood?
So, Santa Cruz was going to box Ray Vargas in a unification. That's fell apart. There's a 15. We was going to box Lara. Leigh got injured, so that's been scrapped. Then they've recalled for Leo Santa Cruz negotiations in a 15-day period. We don't know what he's going to do. If he's going to step aside, if he's going to vacate. If he doesn't vacate, I suppose we've got to box Leo Santa Cruz. If he does vacate and Leigh gets elevated, then I don't know. Do we box Lara? If Josh Warrington's victorious, there's a Josh Warrington fight there.
Yeah, Eddie's banged on a lot about the Warrington fight, and I think when you look at, I was speaking to Michael Conlon the other day, when you look at this division at the minute, there's some huge fights to have. Obviously, Conlon rematch was mega just because of what happened in the first fight, which is you do it wherever. I mean, I think Leigh obviously would say, look, I won the fight. You wouldn't go to Belfast for it, I'm pretty sure. So do it in Nottingham, fill the stadium there. You've got Josh Warrington, Ellen Road. I think Josh Moore would like to go to Nottingham actually for an away day rather than Leeds. But either of them two, you'd be happy to negotiate them. Well, not you, but he'd be happy to jump into them next because there's some huge fights for this portion of his career.
Yeah, like a unification is what Leigh wants. Do you know what I mean? He wants to progress. So if the Josh Warrington fight's there, that is what he wants. The chance to box for a unification and become unified champion. It's what dreams are made of. So, and for him to be able to do that in Nottingham, that's with the cherry on top. So if that opportunity is there, Leigh will do whatever he can to make that happen. The Conlon fight's always there. It's always going to be a big money fight. The Lara fight is still there.
Is it as big a fight if there's no world title involved, the Conlon one?
I think because of the type of fight it was, it'll always be a big fight. With the back and forth needle as well that they created. But that's that, and the fashion in the way that the fight played out, I think that's always going to be there. So
we have to see that fight, don't we, before it's done, because I was sat ringside and I've in a media seat nearly fell out of it.
Yeah, I mean, unbelievable. If Mick went and won a world title, that fight would be there now. But like I say, the main goal for Leigh is...
Has Navarrete moved up? Sorry. Is he still...
Not sure what the situation is there. But he's with Top Rank. If he hasn't, I know that that fight could be negotiated if they wanted to take that fight. But either way, there's massive fights out there. But the number one fight for Leigh that he would like is obviously the Warrington unification fight.
What do you make of Warrington Lopez? Lopez has been in with eyes at Lum and went to his own ambition, and it's like a mule. So I've seen Josh this camp. He looks ready. He looks in terrific shape. What do you make of that fight? Could be a cracker, couldn't it?
Yeah, I haven't watched loads of Lopez, to be honest with you. I know that Josh has been in with some big punches before. He's been in with Kiko Martinez, huge puncher. Been in with Lara, huge puncher. So I don't know if that will faze him. But obviously, we hope that Warrington comes through and hopefully we can make that Leigh-Wood unification clash.
Fingers crossed. Any final words from you? Any new signings to your stable? You got a lot of fighters. Any more?
No, we had Pat and Mark box the other night. Hopefully keep them active.
Let's just talk about Pat, because I'm surprised he kept his cool in there, because I was getting angry watching that. He's running around the ring away from him. I suppose it showed pretty good temperament, didn't it, to not get too frustrated, because it was bloody annoying to watch.
Yeah, I mean, if fella didn't come to engage that whatsoever, but I had a feeling that was how it was going to be, and there were certain things that we asked Pat to do that I think he could have done, but a little bit eager to impress in his Matchroom debut, chasing the head a little bit. But look, now I think for the boys, they've got these Matchroom debuts out of the way, getting them active, and you've got a special fight on our hands there.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, look, Ben, we look forward to hopefully for you and Royston on the weekend, a good performance and then a positive 2023. So thanks for talking to Boxing Social. We'll catch up soon.
No problem, mate.